In our editorial on Thursday, we looked at a message from Deacon Tasang Wilfred to Ambazonians focused on exposing the axis of treachery, denunciation of the irregular RC impeachment, and the way forward. Continuing with that, we bring to you today what the problem really is. The problem, following the abduction of President Ayuk Tabe and his team on January 5, 2018, an acting president was elected from amongst his peers in the cabinet to hold the fort and prosecute the struggle. From the unfolding of events since then, it is abundantly clear, as we shall see subsequently, that some people believed they were better options to Sacco. It was in a bid to cut short Sacco's tenure that the Restoration Council RC Chair Elvis Cometa induced the council into error by ambushing the interim constitution, the IC, announcing a 2-year term for the president without amending the constitution. It was assumed by this group, led by Elvis Cometa and Chris Anu, that the President Sacco would fail woefully, but things did not turn out that way. Blinded by ambition, Secretary Chris Anu declared on March 3, 2021, that the interim government had failed to deliver, that they were tired and exhausted, and called on President Sacco to dissolve the government and to bring back Ayuk Tabe's men. The leaking of that document foiled the plans of the cabal, causing them to actively engage to apply themselves to make the interim government led by President Sacco to fail. Members of the axis of treachery, including but not limited to the Vice President Harrison Abongwa, Chris Anu, John Egianwa, set to work, each in their sphere of influence and sometimes spreading tentacles to cause this to happen. But Ambazonia knows that at the time Chris Anu declared that the interim government had failed, Ground Zero was boiling like a volcano and La Republic du Cameroon terrorist soldiers were being wiped out in droves across the territory. Now, since then, Chris Anu left communications to become an arms contractor in defense. He, VP Abongwa, Egianwa, and others are accused of collecting huge amounts of money to deliver arms and conveniently handed over their loots to scammers. Now, they tried killing the 2021 war draft to replace it with a humanitarian initiative en masse and consequently ruined self-defense. These Deacon Tasang detailed out in a memo to the Restoration Council. What memo? Chairman Cometa has refused to examine because his priority is the eviction of President Sacco. When this did not work, Chris Anu waged war against the goose that lays the golden egg. The Honored Secretary for the Treasury, Irene Ngwa, accusing her of everything, including spreading of tentacles and leg spreading when she dared ask for accountability. Nothing could be more despicable to show how determined the axis was and how much Chris Anu thought of himself. He withdrew from the cabinet, promising to return only after Ambazonian's fundraiser had been sacked. That Chris Anu engaged his action during the war draft should tell everyone how desperate the cabal, the axis of the treacherous, is to kill self-defense and consequently the struggle. Now, the genesis. Having stated the problem, it is proper that we get to the root. Failing to speak up when doing so would help avert danger is to be an accomplice, a party to crime, treachery, and possibly acts of treason. The code on Ground Zero being hear something, say something. To hear that enemy troops are heading to Bafut and not alert our people is to be an accomplice to the deaths that may occur. To have knowledge of acts of treachery and observe silence is to be part of the act, irrespective of whoever was being covered up for. The root. As already stated, Chairman Elvis Cometa is the very foundation of the present crisis. He began resisting the acting president immediately after his election, reasons which can presently be directly connected to Chris Anu. According to the investigations of Deacon Tasang Wilfred, a couple of months after, the chairman of the Restoration Council, Arusi, convened and chaired 2 meetings, the agenda of which were purportedly to replace the acting president. To the first meeting, he invited Mola Njolutumbe, Pa Augustine Ndangam, and Carl Sinayangwe, whose flight Cometa paid from South Africa. That meeting and agenda collapsed after both Mola Njo and Pa Ndangam staged a walkout. Mola Njoli-Tumbe was not happy that acting President Sako was not invited to a meeting to discuss his fate. Mola Njoli-Tumbe was consequently not invited to the second meeting. Pa Ndagam, who was invited, refused to attend because again, acting President Sako was not invited. The story gets interesting. Well, wait until our next editorial and we'll bring to you allegiance instead of sympathy, constitutional ambushments, and more in-depth to Deacon Tasang's concrete analysis. But for now, we've come to the end of this piece to Ambazonians from Pa Tasang Wilfred and also the end of our editorial for today. If you want more of such enlightenment, kindly visit our website at www.abcambatv.com for more. Subscribe, become a club member, and a part of the winning strategy. Final payment details on your screen. I am Star Smart reporting for Undaunted ABC Amba TV.